Hello. Today we're going to talk about the Trenchmelter. And I'm going to keep this one a little bit looser because I think that might be more easy to listen to. So have fun or, you know, hope it inspires you. In the case that you haven't checked out the video about the Duneeater project, really recommend you go check it out. Link is right up here. And that will give you a brief overview of the whole project and where this fits in. Hope you like that video too, and enjoy. This is it. So this machine makes trenches, just like this right here, automatically, all day. Right now, without doing anything. You don't have to pay anything. Once you have this machine, it just does it until it breaks down. And then there's one argument. You're like, you're gonna have like a problem because then there's like maintenance, and the maintenance costs more than like workers. But I disagree, because that's one of the arguments people had, that that's why it's not gonna work out, because the maintenance is gonna cost so much that you might as well do it with the traditional way of building trenches. Trenches like this. Yeah. There's like a bunch of concrete here, right? And for concrete, you need concrete mixers, and you need scaffolding. So you can imagine you need like wood panels here, and all the way, and then you can reuse the wood panels, granted, but you can only go as far as your as much scaffolding you have. Then you have to repeat the process where you go scaffolding and then fill it with concrete and dig a hole anyway, so you need a big machine to basically dig a hole or a trench. And then you need scaffolding, then you need to fill it with concrete, and you need a bunch of workers for that. And if you do that in the desert, you have the problem that, you have the problem that you need all your workers. They have to be somewhere, right? They have to like sleep somewhere. They have to get food and water, and they can't starve. And they got unions, and they got all kinds of stuff. So even if they're like these really low paid, almost slave workers, that's not as awesome. First of all, it's not awesome to hire slave workers, but also it just costs a lot of money. You have to find a good location. I think a good location would be right here. So the reason you built these trenches, obviously, is that, all right, so why do we need trenches? Why do we need to change our agriculture to algae farming in these algae raceways, right? These are unfortunately not filled with water, so you can't see it as well, but maybe it's not as bad because we can at least see how they're made and what they look like. So these are cement filled with cement made algae raceways, and what they do is they produce algae, and they just do photosynthesis, and just like other plants. But the cool thing about this version of agriculture is that the water doesn't seep away. So all the nutrients and the water that you put on a normal field with your plants and the roots, and you got leaves and stuff and the flower, and then rain comes on it, it all seeps away through the ground, and there's a bunch of evaporation here because the surface here, there's way more surface, and it gets hotter, and therefore there's way more evaporation here than on a classical raceway, and that's why these are way better for our environment. But the problem is still that there's all this cement, and cement is arguably a problem, actually, because cement is, although cheap because it comes out of coal production, still not good. Because if you imagine you have to build this with workers and like people that come here and put down scaffolding, and then build this whole thing. It's a massive pain in the ass, right? You need all these workers, right? And I imagine this to be, you know, I'm thinking, and what my plan is to fill all of this entire desert, you know. So the company who would figure this out would take this entire desert and fill it with algae farms. And with this Trenchmelter, they could do it rather cheap. Because if you think about it, you know, if it's like, you imagine it like a Roomba, you know, it will just never stop. Never stop building. It'll just go and never quit, you know. So wait, let's make a screenshot real quick. Brought by boat, right? So let's find some water here. Yeah, it will go like build a trench, yeah, and then it will start going back and forth forever. Zip 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 zip. But it will just fill this and it will never stop, you know, and do it automatically all day, you know. No workers involved until it breaks. Then you needed a worker. But if you had two of these machines, it would go, you know, the other one would go here, yum yum yum, you know, and it would never stop. It would keep on going, you know. If one breaks, you know, you need. And here's the reason why this is so much better than workers, because you need, like, let's say you need like dudes in a car, yeah, in a truck, and they have tools and stuff, and there's like 4 dudes in it, right? Let's say there's like, you know, and if one breaks, they can fix that one, but then the other one's not going to break at the same time, so they can deal with, like, so one of these teams that fixes up the machines, once they break, they can one of these guys, you know, one of these crews can take care of, I don't know, let's say, you know, I don't know, like, let's say 5 of these or 10 of these, you know. Alright, so the point is this, that you build it on land, you know, and then you have a barge, you build it on the machine that will, you know. Alright, so here's what'll happen. If you build this thing, right, you build it on a barge, you know, and then first you build the thing that transports it. It's a big boat, and then you put it on there, you know, it's chilling, it's on there, you know. This is like all folded away from now. The sail, the sun sail, the big Fresnel lens that will melt the sand into thing, yeah. And then you drive that, you know, you make it go to the destination, and then you have the barge go back and reload it, and then the next one's already waiting and gets put on the barge, or the next barge is already waiting and the barges go back and forth, and while the one is being transported, the next one is already being built, and you get, you know, that's how you increase construction of these things. So obviously, you know, that's super expensive, and I'm not a billionaire. I don't have money, so I can't be like, yo, this is like, yo, billionaire dudes, do this, you know, because that's basically what I'm saying. And I know it's like, you know, it's kind of, I don't know. It's a weird move, you know, to sit here in front of my computer and tell billionaires what they should be doing. But I think, you know, I think it's still a good idea. The reason I started the whole billionaire thing was because I was like, alright, so there needs to be a smaller thing than that, okay? Because here's the problem. These sun sails, right? This thing, this is a big Fresnel lens. And the way Fresnel lenses work, they're like normal lenses. basically. So that's a Fresnel lens. And what you need to do is you need to be able to manufacture massive big sheets of Fresnel lenses, you know. They have to be real big, you know. I'm talking like soccer field big, or like, yeah, I'm talking soccer field big. So what you need is not like usually how they're made is you got a big roller and you got the grooves on the outside, and then the sheets come and this turns and you spit out these things, small ones, a bunch of small ones. But we don't need a bunch of small ones. We need like once a month we need one big one, right? Instead of every second like 4 small ones for TVs. That's why they usually got built for these old ass TVs, you know, like old big TV. Yeah, for these guys, that's what they were originally intended for. And there's like a mini projector in there basically. And that's sort of how it works. I think there's just basically, there's like a small TV in here, and there's basically a Fresnel lens just like that makes it bigger. See? Maybe you can see it a little bit. Yeah. Alright, so these, that's where they were originally intended for. Or in the back of trucks, Fresnel. Yeah, these guys, that's how these are the things. So I don't know why the fuck you would put that in the back of your car. To just confuse the shit out of you, so that like I guess it helps you. It's like the dead spot, how it's called, the blind spot, no blind spot. So I guess that works. So, but that's what they're originally intended for. But this thing is massive, right? So how do you build it? How do you make it? Because if you want to make one of those as big as a soccer field, you need, a huge roller that's as big as a soccer field, and that's expensive and dumb, right? So we don't want that. We want to have the same concept as the thing. So the whole premise is always you build a small machine that builds something big, right? So it's like a wasp, right? This is what actually inspired me. It was like wasps are like little 3D printers. If you thought about it, it's fucking cool as shit. Look at it. Wait, I have to check this out on YouTube. Alright, Hornet Hive build. Right, it's so cool, dude. Alright, let's speed this up a bit. Right, it just goes like, and it's small, and it builds a big thing. It's like, wow, it's like a 3D printer. That's the thing. It's like a freaking 3D printer. How cool is that? Wait, I want to go faster. Let's go faster. Faster. Meow, 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 meow. Right? Builds the whole thing, and it's small, and it's big though. Like, it prints something big and complex, but it's small. And if you think of it like a 3D printer, then that's crazy. If you could build a machine that does that, it would be crazy. So that's the point. And this is the point of the first, tiniest, the real first. Not the Trenchmelter, but the one before that. You don't have to invest a lot of money. It's a super cool engineering problem. So if anybody engineers is out there, try this. It's awesome. It must be, so awesome. Right? Such a cool project. Check it out. Alright, I'll explain it. So you got a big plastic sheet, right? And you want to put a little robot in the middle, like a heavy one, like a little Roomba or something like that. Roomba sized thing, right? And it goes in circles. And what it builds is like, it makes a groove. It makes grooves in the soccer field sized, or whatever sized, whatever sized plastic sheet you have, it will make a Fresnel lens out of it. And it does that by just measuring the distance between the middle and where it's at, and then figuring out, mathing out what angle you need. Is it still here? No. And then figuring out what angle it needs and just building it, you know? How awesome is that? You know, it just needs, I mean, how cool is that? You know, you just need, you know, and you have a murder beam, like honestly, and then like seriously, if you have something that's as big as like, and here's the cool thing, right? You don't even need a big sheet. You can just have, you know, you just roll out long things, you know, that are long and rolled up, and you just roll them out, zoop, 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 you know, and you go, whoop, you roll them out, and then you have them go over it. It just has to be able to go over the little bump, you know. But if you lie them edge to edge, right, and then you can roll them back up, and then you can put them in the frame, and then you have a murder beam. I mean, Jesus Christ, how cool is that? And all it is, it's like a little thing. It's like a little robot, right? And then you can constantly adjust, and it's a hot blade, yeah. So and it just goes in circles all day, and you know, and it melts a groove into the plastic sheet at a certain angle. That's all it does. Man, dudes, seriously, coolest shit ever. Like lasers, pfft. Man, dude, a Fresnel, like a laser murder beam machine, dude. Way cooler. Way cooler. It makes its grooves. And then you have a massive super duper lens. And then you build a frame. You roll them up again. Zip. And you build a frame. You sort of stretch them out. And then you have, then obviously, I mean, you can't build the whole thing yet. You can't have this thing yet, but at least you can build the big thing and do tests on it, because that's all it's about at the beginning. All you have to do is a real proof of concept, because you know, because Marcus Kaiser's proof of concept is not proof of concept enough. You know, it's awesome that it works, but you need to prove it better. You know, this is cool, but you need to do it like 20 times the size of that. Way bigger. Way bigger. You know, look how slow that is. You want to have it just, so fast and so hot. Yeah. Seems like it's not speeded up and really melts it. What you want is just, you want to just, either you want to have this speed but on a bigger scale, because what you want is, you know, you want to create trenches, waterproof trenches, automatically made waterproof trenches, and yeah, and then that's how you get it done. Whoops. Where's the map? Map's right here. Right? And just so you get the scale, and obviously, you know, this is super cheap. So just imagine the money, right? Just imagine the cash moolah you'd make. You know, just imagine these dudes, right? And they're like, yeah, you know, I got a farm, and it's great. You know, it's so great. Like, I'm a farmer, and I got this, and then you're like, dudes, like, just like one of these dudes, right? Right, it's right here. You know, you just show up with your ship. You know, it's an awesome ship. You built it. It's sick. Everybody's like, oh my god, that's so cool. And you're like, yeah, I know. And then you just like, and then you kind of build, right? And then it just goes and it builds its trenches. and it just builds the trenches, and it goes vroom, 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 vroom. You know, I could do this for a really long time, but you'd probably get bored. Okay, shit, yes, okay, so yeah, that's not, yeah, you get the point, you know? Okay, I have to make a little revision, because, these, raceways, they have to be closed systems, right? So they can't be, the nutrient levels, have to stay the same inside of this whole, inside of the whole thing, right? So if the salt levels go up too high, too fast, or no, not too fast, just too high, because there's too much evaporation over time, then the algae won't grow optimally. You want to have them grow at an optimal rate. So you have to find a pattern that the algae, the Trenchmelter, can take, so that he will create a bunch of closed loops, which doesn't mean that, you know, that could be something like this, and he could go up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down and so on, you know. So it could be like this, or, and then he has to stop digging, dig himself out and in, and then do that over and over again. Or he could do something where he goes through and then, you know, does something like this, and then every time he, you know, he must be able to close off behind himself too. So not only can he make a trench, dig a trench that is like this, and then, you know, melt all this. It's a bit brighter. That's even worse. Melt all this, you know, zoom, and then, you know, but he also has to be able to kind of, whoops, close this off and make it shallower and shallower, and then also melt all this, sort of like, you know, so that he doesn't only dig these trenches, but he can also close them off, right, behind himself, so that, yeah. Or he could even, like, what he could also do is just crisscross. Okay, so it might be easier to not build the whole functionality into one machine, but just split it into two. So you have one digging machine that, you know, goes ahead and digs a trench, you know, leaves it bare, and there's a second machine that holds the Fresnel lens and melts the sand into the trenches that you want to. It might be easier in all kinds of ways. It might be cheaper to build that way, so you don't have to build as much functionality into one machine, and they can be more specialized, because specialized is easier. Okay, so that was the problematic portion of the video, and I would say, yeah, well, obviously, in a project like this, there's so many problems to solve, but I hope I, you know, tackled the biggest ones, and the upcoming thing is just a little extra snippet that, you know, might, you know, bring home again the importance of this project. The MIT technology, what do you say? Seaweed could make cows burp less methane and cut their carbon footprint, Ooh, nice. A diet supplement with red algae could lessen the huge amounts of greenhouse gases emitted by cows and sheep if we can just figure out how to grow enough. If we could just figure out how to grow enough of this shit, we could figure shit out. Oh my god. MIT? You serious? I know how to fucking do that. So what it takes is a shipyard, one little stupid ass robot, a big ass shipyard, and you're good, man. You can get going. Get fucking going with this shit. Alright, now one more question is like, how much does desert cost? Because here is what this whole project is. This project is a real estate project, alright? You buy cheap ass desert that's worth shit and you turn it into valuable stuff, alright? That's it. Yeah? Right? And the extra goal is to eventually later build cities or towns, you know, because town square feet is a lot worth way more than agricultural land. But you start with agricultural land, right? Because that's easier to make. If you like this video, support me on Patreon or buy this shirt and have a good one and be awesome.